all your Christmas shopping or holiday shopping at one time. Buy a couple of those packages and give people the films. Open them. Make copies of them. Air them on Access TV. I don't say it's okay to make copies of my films. I'm basically ordering you to if you love liberty. I mean, it's not an order. You should be doing whatever you can to wake people up and fight the globalists, even if it's small. Because it's that spirit of resistance that will grow into a mighty oak. It's the mustard seed. You take action on little things, doors open. This is spiritual, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to get off into it. Just experience it for yourself. What do our guests like Salente always say? Or George Humphrey also says it. When the student is ready, the teacher appears. You have to get in the ring. You got to get on the horse to learn how to ride. You got to get in the ring to learn how to fight. You can go out and take martial arts all day. You can go out, whatever. There's nothing that'll teach you like how to fight than like being in 100 of them. Okay? It's the same thing. You got to get on the horse. You're never going to learn how to drive a tractor till you get on the tractor. The globalists want to keep you in a little box. Get those DVDs. Get them out to everybody you know. And more importantly, go to Infowars.com, the articles we did last night about how they're trying to censor it, and get that free video link to the one version that's the highest quality I've seen online for free, 9.5+ million views, and get it out to everybody because they're trying to take it down right now. So again, let's go to Aaron Dykes. Aaron, I know you've got a cornucopia of news. You take the helm because I'll interrupt if I don't actually sit back here for the next 10 minutes. You take us up into break with the news and analysis, and then I'm going to come back and tell folks about the Obama situation and the MF Global. I know you've got some MF Global there, so if you want to get to that. Oh, all these people saying Salente deserved to have his private account taken because he was it was money he'd gotten in derivatives that was, or not derivatives, in futures that was his under law. Oh, now they're saying they're going to take the farmers stuff. Oh, I guess they're going to deserve it too. And then all of you, when you lose your bank accounts that are all for this stuff, I guess you're going to deserve it as well. Or when they devalue our dollar more, I guess all of us deserve it. Well, I guess in a sick way we do for living in denial and letting a bunch of crooks get control of us and teach us it's okay for them to grab our children's genitals. And by the way, there's more TSA in the news, more TSA pedophiles, more TSA rapes, more evil just oozing out of the big sewer line that is the federal government and all the trash and nobody control freaks they've hired as an army of darkness, as our founding fathers warned of, new offices and swarms of agents to eat out our sustenance, eat out our substance. All right, the baton is handed to Aaron Dykes. Aaron, give us a news breakdown.
Yeah, hi, Alex. I mean, first, what you're talking about power on that spiritual and higher level, it really factors in because so much of this New World Order system is that general generic pressure in whatever our capacity is to roll over, to absorb into that Borg system. And it's really so many times when we say no that we have that power. It's not when you put on a TSA uniform and scream at people, I have the power. It's when you actually stand up for something that matters, for a principle or what have you. And all that power in the uniform really goes to the system. It doesn't go to the individual. And just joining that system is how we become so vulnerable. I mean, it's very evident in the economic problems we face because they've asked us all over decades of globalization to bind together under that fascist branch, to leverage our debts together, to interconnect the world at such a level that no one can even understand the level of financial fraud going on because of all the derivatives and cross bets and credit default swaps and all the other complicated mechanisms that are threatening the system now, Alex. And you see that here again with Times headline, can the U.S. Federal Reserve help save Europe's banks? And those of us who've been following the news have known for some time that the Federal Reserve has been secretly giving money to Europe and their top banks. But that had to come out through a lot of pressure on the Federal Reserve here politically in the U.S. And yet here it is just casually admitted that the U.S. Federal Reserve has been pumping billions of dollars into Europe's banking system in recent weeks to help stabilize the continent's financial crisis. And it goes on to how there's an agreement signed between the New York Fed and the European Central Bank to swap dollars at a fixed exchange rate, and how they want that Federal Reserve, quote, big bazooka on the table so they don't have to use it. That's the same thing they said about the new financial vehicle they want set up in Europe under Merkel and Sarkozy. They want an unlimited financial bazooka that they can use at will. They just want an unlimited pile of money. And something you've talked about recently, Alex, has been...
Well, it says Emperor Palpatine would say unlimited power. And remember, this is a class of criminals, Aaron. Here I am interrupting because you're addressing me and bringing up these points. I want you to go back to your next one. Is that, remember, it's all a bunch of crooks like Corzine and Madoff and Ken Lay, who came up with all of this crud. It's just a bunch of crooks like, the head of Italy, Berlusconi, who just had to step down. Look at them. They're all a bunch of crooks. It's simple. They're crooks. Homeland Security is their stick-up squad, like bank robbers come in a bank. Well, these guys have an army of moron idiots that actually think they're the good guys and don't know they're working for the actual terrorist. And you can't argue with that. They put the underwear bomber on the plane. They put Al-Qaeda in charge of Libya. You people out there that won't wake up to the fact that our government is a bunch of murdering criminals are going to let these people totally take over. We're all in danger. Haven't you idiots figured this out yet? I just spilled my coffee. I'm just getting so angry now. Go ahead, Aaron. Just go ahead.
I agree, Alex. And how sad is it that all the secret police that have unfortunately been trained by elements of the U.S. government, ties back to even the Nazi regime, are now taking the moniker Homeland Security. It's just a bad sign to pass that baton of undue secret police power and then even adopt the names and share them throughout the generations. As you know, Homeland Security goes back to the Nazi regime as well. But getting back to the European financial news of the current day, it's also interesting that Bloomberg has the headline, Kissinger's favorite communist paves the way for Mario Monti to govern Italy. And it talks about the aging president, Giorgio Napolitano, largely a figurehead, who nonetheless cleared the way for the Bilderberg technocrat, looter, Mario Monti, who's totally used to be part of Goldman Sachs or related to it, like so many other important people in this system. And the other article I had next to me got into how the European Central Bank head, I think that's Draghi, is connected to Goldman Sachs, and all these other key figures, even as you have MF Global, also with Corzine, formerly head of Goldman Sachs, now kind of the canary in the coal mine for all the missing money that is yet to come. I think really paving the way for the next giant global collapse, as so many others have said on this program. But the fact that Kissinger has this favorite communist kind of gives away a lot of his past activity in Italy, where, secret police type activity repressed a lot of the legitimate government there, and many aspects of that foreign policy became a client state deal. Now it's still happening today with the same banker crew running the scene. I don't know if you're still ready to go, Alex, but the Independent has the headline, What Price the New Democracy? Goldman Sachs Conquers Europe. And it gets into what I was just talking about, how senior advisors at Goldman Sachs are in charge of the Western nation. They're bringing up there Mario Monti, and gets into what they're calling the Goldman Sachs Project in Europe, pointing out, like I said, also the European Central Bank head, also from ex-Goldman Sachs management. You've also got the former IMF Monetary Fund's European division run by a Goldman Sachs man, Antonio Borges. He just resigned, but there are others as well. It's a pretty lengthy article. We're not going to cover it all here today. But just look at the bait and switch, putting the pressure on all these European nations that they owe this debt, when in fact it was created, really a created pretext and problem set up by the banks. Somewhere from yesterday's stack, they had an article from back in August talking about why isn't Iceland more in the news, a great example of a small country that said no to the banker debt they tried to saddle them on. And they did go through some tough times, but they basically come out of it just by saying no to the banks and essentially raising the question, why aren't more of these other small European countries saying no to this fraudulent debt that has been piled on them?
So frustrated, Aaron. That's why I'm so frustrated. We are here at the crossroads now. They're making their bold, insanely out of control, insanely naked, hubris-filled, arrogance, chutzpah, bravada, aplomb-filled, macho, in-our-face, over-the-top, arrogant con artist move with just flagrant stealing and tyranny and classical corruption and torture and evil and treason right out in front of us. And the public, some of them are awake, but the security forces are just a bunch of treasonous miscreants. And we are going over the side of the cliff right now. We've still got time to turn back. And it's so easy just to see these crooks for who they are. If we were like the Icelanders, who are highly educated and informed on average and intellectual, they are one of the most highly educated groups in the world. I mean, America just may be a big fat hog that wants to get slaughtered. And that's what you want, folks. It's what you're going to get. I cannot impress it upon you. You do not want to stick your finger in that light socket. You do not want to jump in front of that train. You do not want to jump off that cliff. You do not want to follow the other lemmings off the edge of the cliff. Please, 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 please listen to me. The reason we're being demonized and attacked everywhere is because we're on target. We're on target. It's a Mayday situation. I'm Alex Jones. Aaron Dykes coming up. Greg Palast straight ahead. Stay with us. Folks, we are back live, and I just start ranting when I think about how true all of this is coming. When I think about how right we've been and how right we're going to be about the next phases of this situation. And getting briefly into this whole Obama deception situation, the FBI visited our office a week before it was scheduled to be released and kept asking about the Obama deception. Then they were calling people on extensions before and after that, asking them about the Obama deception. I mean, I had the office manager, Tim Frugé, come in. He manages the back shipping office area. And he came up and he goes, yeah, the FBI is calling and asking me about Obama deception and stuff and where they can send something, what our proper address is. And I'm like, what? Are you sure it's the FBI? So I call the number. It's the official FBI office. This was out of San Francisco. And they wouldn't tell me why the FBI was coming, just that they'd be showing up the next day. And they had a subpoena. And so then the FBI shows up with an Austin cop and won't say what it's really about, but then and then leaves. And then the other FBI agent calls back and says, "Don't talk about it. You know, there's a gag order. Read that order." And then I go on air and I say, "Well, I'm told not to talk about this, but the FBI was here talking about the Obama deception." And I said, "I'm going to go ahead and release it a couple days early because I don't know what's going on." Now, it turned out it was over somebody threatening police on my website in the comments, and later that came out in the Associated Press. I didn't even know what it was about. They wouldn't tell me. But they were using it as an excuse to ask about the Obama deception. And we've had the site hacked and the video removed to where it said removed by a user. Anybody who has a YouTube account knows they never restore that. We raised Cain on it, and they went in and did an investigation and did it to say, yes, it was entered by someone else and erased, and they restored it. First time that's ever happened. We've had a bunch of other dirty tricks involving it. I've had Nightline come down and say, won't your film cause violence? Aren't you concerned? When the whole film is against violence. It's about Obama being a puppet. This is the type of film that would make somebody not want to attack Obama. Generally a schizophrenic type that thinks they're Jesus and he's the devil. I've had schizophrenics like that on me before. They're Christ, I'm the devil, I've got to die. It's some type of archetype, and that's what they allege this guy was doing. And now I've seen videos of him. Yeah, totally crazy. And a year ago at some party, he watched the Obama deception. I've read his material. It's all about or seen his video. It's all about how Obama's the devil and he's Christ and he's Jesus and he's going to get him. If you even believe that, Obama wasn't even there when it happened. It might be a false flag. I don't know. They love to blame stuff on crazy people because they can't talk straight. The issue is that they've done this now dozens and dozens of times, connecting anything to me. If somebody falls and slips, they blame it on me. I mean, I'm like a banana peel or something. And it's because they're scared of us. We know we're on the White House enemies list that came out a few years ago. And it just shows how scared they are of the truth. And I've seen all these people on our YouTube channel saying, yay, I agree with Alex. Let's get Obama. Rest in peace, Obama. Try with clear spam accounts, probably Democratic operatives, just to associate violence with that particular 9.5 million viewed one, which is really scary.